One. What's going on, guys? It's the Bigs Podcast. This is episode number 8. And today, we're going to do another positional ranking. We did second base to start off with, reasons. This time we're doing backstops because I don't care. It's catcher time. And with me this week from Colorado in Denver, Jason Ashby. Jason, how are you doing tonight?
Joe, I'm doing great. Happy to be here. Excited to talk about catchers and look forward to the 2022 season.
Yeah, man. Let's hope we can get a 2022 season. We're gonna talk about the CBA here next week as it approaches and really get into what the talking points are going to be. I'm hoping they can get it done, but I'm not exactly overly optimistic. But we'll talk about
Doesn't
that
seem like
next week.
doesn't seem like anybody is, but it's scary.
It's not going to be good. Um,
Yeah.
but we're going to talk about the 2022 catcher rankings. You got 15 here, and when we're talking about this position, it's usually one that is always thin. Somebody is always changing their catcher, and there's maybe 3 or 4 guys at the top. What difficulties did you see coming into this and getting this ranking?
Yeah, that's just it. You have the top 5, 6 maybe, and after that, it really dies off a cliff. And like you said, like there were managers, in our league this past year that didn't have a catcher. You were included,
Yeah.
for a stretch. Because why am I going to put, James McCann in to strike out 4 times? I might as well have nobody, and that's kind of been the landscape of this position for a couple of years now.
Yeah. It has its big boppers, but if you have to spend as high a draft pick, go get JT Realmuto off of a bad year. Like, let's not forget, Realmuto did not have a good year. If he's coming in still in a 4th or 5th round value, I don't think I'm in.
Right.
Uh,
It's almost as if, and we'll do relievers in another show, but it's almost like I feel like like what closers used to be. Like, right, a lot of times you would wait until the 8th, 9th, 10th round to start, really drafting your closers. I feel like closers are starting to move up a little bit, and catchers are falling back.
yeah, it's really a disappointing position to be stuck with a guy that you don't believe in, and you're riding that wave until the next one comes, right? When that guy cools off. You said it. I had Omar Narvaez. I had Carson Kelly. I had James McCann for a long period of time. I had Sean Murphy for a minute. Like, there's just so many dudes who are just below average at best. But
Yeah.
let's kick this thing off. We're going to go down my rankings and compare with yours. The number 1 overall, I kind of thought this was an obvious one, and you really surprised me here. You have Will Smith as the number 1 overall catcher. I have Salvador Perez. So I ask you, why Smith over Perez?
So we're kind of projecting forward here, right? So
Mhm.
we're kind of, saying what we're expecting for the 2022 season. Salvador Perez had a fantastic season. There's no doubt about it. I just don't know if he can repeat it. He's in his mid-30s now. He has shown that he can miss a long stretch of time with injuries. Will Smith, he's playing on the Dodgers. So that instantly gives him ultimate run RBI opportunities. He's younger, and I think he's just on a team that's going to be better. So he's gonna be better. Like, the team will just make him better.
I can always respect he's on a winning team when it's this kind of a comparison, right? We don't think the Kansas City Royals are going to compete next year. I think they're going to be one of those teams finishing just under 500 like they did this year. Maybe they'll be better than they were this year, but probably not by much. But when I look at these two, one guy hit 48 home runs, which led the league, and led the league with 121 RBIs, hit 275, scored 88 runs, and played in 161 games at catcher.
Yeah.
You're not going to have Will Smith for more than probably what he put up this past year, which was 130. 25 homers, 75 RBIs. I like all of these numbers. And if you're telling me that I would get a discount from Salvador Perez to Will Smith, I would probably take Will Smith first. I don't think I'm going to go Sal Perez go 2nd or 3rd round next year? Is that a thing?
I don't know in the bigs. I don't think so.
I don't know,
I
man.
mean, look, I guess if people value him as the best catcher, I mean, I guess it's possible, but go for it. If people want to take him in the third round, by all means. Like I just look and I said mid 30s. He's gonna be 32. He's going into his 32 season. So like,
Mm-hmm.
but again, that's a catcher. So a catcher at 32 is more like maybe 35, 36. I just don't know if he can really put up that kind of season again. He had an historic 2021 season. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, he only
I
missed
just
one
I
game.
Yeah, which is incredible considering he missed like
He missed
half of last
all of
season.
2019 and half of 2020, basically.
Right. So he came back and played the entire season, which is great. Is that going to take an effect? Is he going to have is he going to be able to do that again? I don't see
How
it.
many games did he play at DH? He played 40 games at DH this past year. They could bump that up. If they go out and get somebody on the free agent market that's even like passably decent,
Yeah.
if they had a regular catcher, right? Like, I don't know, who's a free agent right now? Um,
I think like Roberto Perez, isn't he? He's
okay, yeah,
around. Yeah.
let's throw that out there. So
Yeah.
they go and sign Roberto Perez for a year and $2 million.
Yeah.
Roberto Perez could play 80 games in theory,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't lose Sal Perez's bat out of the lineup. Is it a downgrade in defensive? Like in a defensive way? Maybe, because Sal Perez is also, by the way, a gold glove catcher.
And you're not really taking the bat out of anybody else's hands in Kansas City. Who else is going to be their DH? Like
I don't think I can come up with somebody right now. They would have
Hunter
to.
Dozier. Like I
Hunter
mean,
Dozier's actually getting time at like right field lately.
yeah. Like so,
Um,
I, having Perez as your DH is not really hurting you.
Roster Resource says the DH is Adalberto Mondesi, but they have Bobby Witt Jr. playing third. They have Nicky
Mm.
Lopez at short and Whit Merrifield at second. Now, don't exactly know how that infield's going to fit together around Sal Perez. We have gone off on a wild tangent here talking about the Royals lineup for this, but you're right. The lineup is much better for Will Smith.
Yeah.
I can understand ranking him first. I just couldn't put him past a dude who led the league in home runs and RBIs and hit 20 points better.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Sal Perez is your number two for what that's worth. Your number three is actually my number two because I have Will Smith number three. It's JT Realmuto, who for about 3 or 4 years now has been the best catcher in fantasy baseball, coming off of a bit of a strange season, if I do say so. 263 batting average, 17 homers, 73 RBIs, 64 runs scored. It's not bad at the catcher position, but it's just a little bit less than what we would expect, if I'm honest. You know,
Yeah. It's less than what we're used to from him.
yeah, it feels like 20, what was it, 2017? He had a fairly similar year with 17 homers and 65 RBIs, and like again was the best. But he was also stealing 8 bases. He got 13 steals this year too. Dude's
That's
good.
his career high.
Yeah,
For a single season. So like, but I just the
I
on
got to
base
put him
was
above
good.
Will Smith only because of the stolen bases. Like, if he
Yeah.
doesn't steal bases or Will Smith also steals 10 bags, then he might go above him.
Yeah.
But it's kind of nice to get double-digit steals out of your catcher.
For sure, and it doesn't happen very often. And look, I mean, even four triples, like so he's not he's a little more he's more than one dimensional, as a catcher. I just I don't know, like have we seen the best of him? Probably.
I think so. I think his best years are behind him, but it's not like he's going to be bad.
No.
He's 31. He'll be 31 in March.
Yep.
Um, I, he could have a baller season and go hit another 20 homers or something.
Sure.
Maybe.
And he's playing. Look, the Phillies still do have Bryce Harper, Reese Hoskins, so they have he has got
Good
guys around
lineup.
him.
Good lineup.
Yep.
Could be better. They could go
Yep.
out and sign Javi Baez or something and put him in the middle of that lineup, and that would be
Yeah.
pretty interesting. Um, Number 4, Jason, we agree on completely. Number 4 is Yasmani Grandal. 240 batting average, 23 homers, 62 RBIs, 60 runs scored, a 420 on base percentage because the man had 87 walks and only 82 strikeouts. I love everything about it. I'll just take the other 3 guys above him because they're the highest ceiling. And I think this is fantastic if you miss out on those 3 guys.
Absolutely. I would not feel bad if this ends up being my starting catcher. Like, especially if you get him, later on in the draft, after these other 3 go out, earlier on. He had a great year, and he missed a bunch of time with a knee injury that I feel like could have sidelined most people for the whole season.
Right.
And he still managed to play 93 games.
Yeah.
So yeah, and again, he's on a stacked White Sox lineup. So I have good expectations for him this year.
Yeah, no doubt. So the interesting thing was that he played 63 games in the first half, hit 188 with 14 homers and 38 RBIs, and then came back for a 30 game stretch down in September. 337 batting average, 481 on base, 9 homers, 24 RBIs. The dude was on fire when he came back from that knee injury.
Well, yeah, his first game back, he had an 8 RBI game.
Yeah.
His first game back from the injury list. So yeah, he just needed, I guess, a 30 game rest or whatever it was.
Sure. I mean, okay, so Grandal is at 4. Is there a jump to a next tier here, or does this 5th guy that you have, because I also have him at 5, does he belong in the upper echelon? And that guy is Willson Contreras.
Yeah.
He's your guy. You've had him for a long time in this league, Jason. You have owned him year after year for 3 years now?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, that sounds about right.
All right. 237 batting average, 21 homers, 57 RBIs, 61 runs scored, a 340 on base percentage for 52 walks to 138 strikeouts. He played 128 games. 20 doubles. Is there a teardrop from Grandal to this guy, or do you keep him in the first tier?
It's like, yes, he's like right at the bottom or right at the top of the next. Like, it's right. Like he's like right there. I probably, because I still think there's upside there. He's young enough. I know the Cubs are gonna stink, but he's good enough like that he can make do with who's around him. If
he's got to be healthy, traded this year, right?
You would think so. I mean, unless the Cubs come out like, and blow all of our minds, but
I don't see that coming. He's a free agent at the end of next year.
Yeah.
So he's a free agent after he's a free agent after this year, after the coming year. 2022 is his final year in Chicago. So yeah, you would almost assume that somebody's going to have to pay up to come get this guy. And it's a walk year. Do you believe that Willson Contreras can turn it on? What's his best season?
He needs to cut down the strikeouts. Like that and again, I owned him, and watching that, like, that killed me. Because like I was expecting, I was looking more for like the 272 average that he hit in 2019, not the 237 that he hit in 2021.
For what it's worth, well, I mean, which is the real Willson Contreras, right? 3 seasons have been good and 3 seasons have been bad. Man, I don't know.
So he'll be what? He'll be 30 in May. Mm-hmm. I'm willing to give him one more year. Like if this year is,
so you're going to draft him again next year.
I got him in the 8th round. I got him in the 8th round this past year.
Mm-hmm.
I could do that again.
You would pay 8th round for Willson Contreras.
Maybe not 8th round, but give me 10th round.
Okay.
Yeah, because I still think that there's enough upside. I mean, he is 20 home run, capable.
Of course.
He stole 5 bases this year, which is not.
It's not
not terrible.
That's not a 0.
Right. So there's something there. 20 doubles.
If he's going to ball out, you're going to see a ton of RBIs because he's probably going to have to drive himself in a lot because that team is
Yeah.
not going to be very good.
At the 10th round, like if come June, July, he's like tanking, I don't mind dropping him at
And if I would wait until the trade deadline to see where he would go if you owned him next year,
sure, yeah,
and monitor who you think is going to get in on this. Like the Yankees would have to sign up for this guy if they're in contention again, right? They would have to go trade for a catcher.
right,
Yeah,
especially if Gary Sanchez is doing Gary Sanchez things,
exactly. All right,
yeah.
let's move on from Wilson Contreras. The next guy on your list is Travis d'Arnaud. I have d'Arnaud ninth on the world champion Atlanta Braves. So another good lineup, providing Freddie Freeman comes back. This past season, in just 60 games, a 220 batting average, a 284 on base, 7 homers, 26 RBIs, 14 doubles, 21 runs scored. It's literally a 2020 season. It was okay, I suppose. Like the 7 homers in 60 games is nice, but like what about this guy makes him number 6 above some of the names we haven't mentioned yet?
It was tough because especially we know this guy, right? And we know his injury history, and he's never really played a full season before. But he looked good in the World Series. And like again, I still feel like there's upside here. He is a little bit older. He's going to be what 33 in February, so like he's definitely on the downward slope. But I think there's enough still in his bat that if he's healthy, he can help carry a team.
He'll get plenty of opportunity. That's for sure. Hitting behind, presumably Acuna, Albies, and Freeman. Like if
Austin
he's the
Riley,
4 hitter, fine. If he's the 5 hitter behind Riley, that sounds great. Like I
yeah.
think I would sign up. But just come to find out, he's a free agent right now. So he could go sign somewhere because that will be interesting. I'd like to see what would happen if that were. No, he's signed.
No, he signed.
Yeah, what the hell? Baseball reference. All right.
They yeah, they signed him to a contract extension over the summer.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So he's locked up.
Locked up. All right. He's not going
Yeah.
anywhere. Yeah. So he's in a good lineup, and he's going to have a good spot in that lineup. Yeah, I would have him. I think 6 is a little high given who you've got behind him, and some of which are not even on the list. But I respect the idea that he's going to be there. Your number 7. This is one I'm more interested in your opinion on. It's Sean Murphy. I've got Murphy at 12 or 13, maybe even lower. He didn't have a very good season. The Oakland Athletics are about to sell. So why Sean Murphy at 7?
This is for me. This is like where the tier splits for real. Like this is where like you just throw a dart and hope that one of these guys comes out with a surprising season. But I feel like Sean Murphy is probably one of the more likely ones to do it. He did hit 17 home runs this year, so he could get you 20, 25 home runs, which is good for the catcher position, especially these days. I mean, obviously the 216 batting average is disgusting. The 114 strikeouts is horrible.
Especially in 119 games. Like he didn't play very much.
Look, they're gonna have a new manager in Oakland. Maybe that does something. I don't know. I really don't know.
At least he's going to get a better spot in the lineup. He had 9th so often.
Yeah.
Right. Like.
I'll be honest. I don't know much about him. I never really followed his career or anything like that. Or I know you had him for a stretch, and I think you even had him last year, didn't you?
I had him last year for a period of time. I like the kid. I followed him when he was in Vegas. I watched him play in Vegas. I don't think he's ever going to be something like Buster Posey or like what people think he might be, like 20 homer upside and a 260 batting average with a really nice on base percentage. I don't think he's ever going to be that, right? What if he's just like, I don't know, what if he's just Brian McCann late in his career? 225 batting average, like maybe 15 home runs in a decent lineup somewhere. Like you get access
Yeah.
to a good lineup that way. Um, I don't, I just don't see it. Like I'm
He,
just going, okay, like I was wrong about you.
he's one of the younger ones on this list, so far. He just turned 27, so um you know it, he may have a good year or two. Again, I don't know much about him, but I feel like he's safe, you
Okay.
know.
All right. Your next guy is another guy that I owned last year, and I don't like him very much either, Jason. Omar Narvaez this past year, 266 batting average. Looks like 11 homers, 49 RBIs, 54 runs scored, 41 walks to 84 strikeouts. Uh, Not a great batting average either. This guy's he definitely had the splits. Like things went weird for him in the second, and
Yeah.
maybe it has everything to do with the hamstring injury that he had early that kind of derailed his really good start. I would have expected more than 11 homers out of this guy this year. I've got him, and I want to talk about his splits here for a moment. 2021 splits were I I think they were yeah. In the first half in 71 games, he hits 300 with a 396 on base percentage, 8 homers and 26 RBIs. Sweet, he's on his way to like 15, maybe 20 homers if he has a good second. 225 average, 272 on base, 3 homers, 23 RBIs. Ouch. Something happened in
Yeah.
the second half. Somebody figured him out.
Yeah. And like you said, he was battling a hamstring injury. I think he had a back thing too, or something else was nagging him. He played 123 games, which is okay.
Yeah.
Not far off from the 132 when he hit 22 home runs in 2019 with Seattle. Um, if he can approach that kind of level
Mhm.
this year, I think someone's going to get a good bargain for him.
All right. I mean, like I said, man, I have him outside the top 15, definitely. Just going to count him up right now. Let me talk about who I have next, actually. You actually have Tyler Stevenson next of the Cincinnati Reds. Tell me about Tyler.
Yeah, he's another one that like you don't really know much about, but I think it definitely seems like Cincinnati is prepared to give him the reins. They just shipped Tucker Barnhart over to Detroit, so they're ready to kind of give him the look. Um, and he impressed me. He had 286 with 356 on base in 132 games this year. Like 10 home runs, 45 RBIs. He's playing in Cincinnati. We know that place has a bandbox. We know that lineup is going to be good.
Do
Um,
we? Hang on a
I
second.
I think so. I think so.
Really?
Yeah. Uh, Jonathan India is going to be on base every single game. Uh,
You're
Jesse Winker.
I don't know who you have a bigger man crush on. It's either Jonathan India or Nicky Lopez, and I don't know which
Those
one it is yet.
those
But
middle infielders. um, yeah. They're losing Castellanos, but like Joey Votto can still
yeah, they're
hit.
only
Like,
losing an MVP candidate, Jason. Come
well,
on, man. Like they're
what they still
replacing him with
got.
Tyler Naquin.
Who
And
had a good season. Like,
it was fine. It's fine. He's not a world beater. I
no,
mean,
but
what did he
anyway,
hit this year? 270, 19 homers, 52 RBIs. Yeah, okay, that's like
as a part-time
Yasiel
player,
Puig. Yeah, it's like
as
Yasiel.
a part-time player, like, no,
127 games.
I think Stevenson, he's the youngest so far, definitely by far
Yes.
on our list. He hit 21 doubles. Like, this kid can hit.
I'm looking at their lineup, man. India, Winker, Votto, another year older. Suarez, can he hit water with a beach ball in the middle of the ocean from a boat? I don't know. They have Stevenson hitting sixth in this lineup, and you're right. Like he does play in Cincy. It is a bandbox. It's easy to get good power numbers there. I suppose. I mean, you've got him at 9. I've got him at 18. I'm willing to move him up, but there's a few guys that like I would have to put him in front. Like I'd have to put him in front of Sean Murphy at 16. Uh,
I could see him finishing the season ahead of Sean Murphy. Absolutely, I could. I could see that.
Yeah. All right, your number 10 here is another interesting one. I have this guy. Where do I have this guy? 22. He's
Wow.
behind Narvaez. He's behind Stevenson. Like they're in the right order. There's just a lot of other guys that I'm seeing on my list that aren't on yours, and we're going to talk about those after we get off this.
Okay.
So Jacob Stallings of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, look, I like Jacob Stallings. I think he could be a piece to the Pittsburgh Pirates' future whenever they decide to be competitive again. But a dude who hit 8 home runs is in your top 10 at this position.
To me, that's look. Clearly, there's somebody I'm missing, but to me, that's the nature of this position. Like at this point, like 8 home runs and a 246 average is respectable. You know,
runs scored in 112 games. Like the lineup is pretty atrocious.
It's very atrocious.
Like, it's Brian Reynolds and friends. Like that's literally
Brian Reynolds. Like Stallings could be the centerpiece of this offense. You know, Colin Moran. Like
Colin Moran, Brian Hayes, whatever random outfielder they decide to sign this offseason.
Kevin Newman, is he's still around? Right?
Kevin Newman's a bench piece. Their second baseman is Tucker next year.
Right. Okay.
Sure. O'Neal Cruz is coming up for AAA next year. Could be a nice piece, but realistically, this is going to be one of the worst teams in baseball.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously the expectations for Stallings are pretty low, but we've seen guys have good seasons on bad teams before. So he has the talent to do it. It's just a matter of putting it all together.
Right. Your number 11, you have Christian Vasquez. This is one we're pretty close on. I have Vasquez at 13. I really do like this guy. I might even be moving him up a little bit here, but I just don't know in front of whom yet. Christian Vasquez, man, great. You want to talk about a great lineup? This is a dude, man. They have how many potentials for an MVP on that team? Devers, Bogarts, JD Martinez. Like if they go out and sign somebody else,
even like an Alex Verdugo, who was not MVP quality, but he was certainly had a great season. Like
it's still solid,
yeah.
This I feel is like a light version of JT Realmuto 10 rounds later.
Yeah.
8 steals, 6 homers, 49 RBIs, a 258 batting average with a decent on base percentage. Like,
fine. I think what's hurting me for him is hurting him for me is like he teased us with that 2019 season when he hit 23 bombs. Like, and then it hit 13 over the next season, 2 seasons combined.
7 in 47 games last year. The power just went out here, and I don't know what happened.
Right. So
you got 23 doubles from this guy. Like that's okay.
So is the power for real, or is he just like?
Dude, he had like no barrel percentage. He had a 2.6 barrel percentage. His hard hit rate was 31%. Most guys that we've already talked about have 45 and up. Yeah. Sal Perez led the position at 56.2% hard hit rate. Like Christian Vasquez just isn't hitting the ball hard. Right. That's what it boils down to.
So like, I mean, the 8 steals is nice from the catcher position. 258 batting average isn't.
It's not going to kill you. It's not going to kill you.
Right. So, you know, and 84 strikeouts in 138 games, 500, you know, almost 500 at bats.
That's good. That's very good. Yeah. It's fine. I'll take that every single day. I have him at 13. A couple of guys that aren't on your list are guys that are ahead of him. We'll get to those guys soon. 13 for you is Mike Zunino. I have Zunino in my top 10 at number 10. Because other than Sal Perez, who has 30 homer upside in this list? Realistically. Sal Perez, Grandal maybe, and Mike Zunino.
Yeah. You make a good point. And I wanted to get him higher. The strikeouts and the batting average just
No doubt.
I couldn't
No
do
doubt.
it. I couldn't do
If
it.
you start your draft, like you're getting Mike Zunino was on like 6 teams this past year. There's a reason for that.
Including mine.
Yes, I may have owned him for a moment. I don't. Probably. I had so many injuries. Regardless, like 33 bombs, and what was his on base percentage? 301 with a 216 batting average. That's pretty good. Like the 34 walks is enough to survive with. If you've got a team that you have a lot of on base and speed guys,
Sure.
this is a dude that balances that out and gives you the raw power you're looking for. Your number 14 is Max Stassi. I have him at 19. This past season, 241 batting average. Just going to go ahead and pull him up on Baseball Reference and not try to do this from my notes. 241 batting average, 326 on base, 13 homers, 35 RBIs, 45 runs scored, 11 doubles. 752 OPS is pretty nice. Like, I guess that comes from the on base percentage because 28 walks to 101 strikeouts and 300 at bats. Not even 300 at bats.
Yeah.
That's not pretty.
You know, I'm taking a shot. You know that if Trout's back, if Rendon's back, with Ohtani, like Jared Walsh, like there's a good mix of guys in that lineup, and like he's gonna be the guy now. Like I feel like he hadn't always been the guy, but I think he's the guy now there.
Okay.
So you know he could be on the verge of something here, or he just sucks.
Yeah, I mean he could. The good thing is that you're going to get access to a good lineup, and he hits right behind all of the guys that you can name on the Angels right now. Ohtani,
Yeah.
Trout, Walsh, Rendon are probably their top 4.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's Max Stassi. Like that's apparently the next dude up because you got Brandon Marsh, Joe Adell, Luis Rengifo, and David Fletcher. God, they need a shortstop, but realistically, they need pitching. Regardless, like, yeah, this is if Max Stassi were to fit, you were to tell me he's going to hit 5th in the Angels lineup, I could see bumping him up. I just don't know that that's going to happen because it's the Angels. They'll probably go out and sign like, I don't know, Corey Seager or Carlos Correa. Javi Baez fits this lineup, right?
Yeah.
You know, they could go get Trevor Story for all we know. I don't know. 15, you have James McCann. And look, I get it. We're Mets fans. We're going to back our dude. I have James McCann at 24 because realistically, James McCann is a defensive catcher and probably should have stayed as such. He has a great arm and he's a great pitch framer. But a 232 batting average, a 294 on base, 10 homers, 46 RBIs, 29 runs scored, and 12 doubles. He had a 643 OPS. That's ugly.
It is. It is, and obviously it's not what we were expecting for a
not a
$4-year
$40
contract.
million man.
Yeah, but I want to give him the benefit of the doubt one more year. You know, it's his first year in New York, the grand stage, on that big contract. Like, let's see. You know, the Mets are going to have a new manager themselves. Like, maybe there's something there that got he lost. You know, in the bright lights. Now a year after that, maybe he can rediscover it and at least get back to respectability.
Realistically, I think he's like a 250, 260 hitter. I think something like his 2017 season of 253, 318 on base, 13 homers, 50 RBIs. I'll take that.
The Mets,
and just
look, the Mets haven't had a catcher. I mean, Travis d'Arnaud never really got the opportunity to be that guy, right? So they really haven't had a catcher. A productive catcher for
since LaDuca.
Piazza.
No, LaDuca. Okay. LaDuca.
All right, I'll take LaDuca, but like, so they're giving him a shot. Like he's gonna be there for another 3 years. So,
we shall see. All right, that's your top 15. Let's talk about the guys we didn't talk about. At 1, I have Sal Perez. 2, I have JT Realmuto. 3, I have Will Smith. 4, I have Yasmani Grandal. It's the same top 4 for you in a different order. 5, I have Wilson Contreras, same as you. Number 6 is a guy we didn't talk about. Why are we dismissing Mitch Garver?
I kind of dismiss a lot of guys on the Twins.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of the Twins lineup. I'm not, and his numbers really stand out to me that much. I mean, 13 home
So
runs,
he only
34
played 60
RBIs.
games last year.
Yeah, so like,
68 games. He hit 256 with a 358 on base percentage. That's a great on base percentage from a catcher. 31
is there
walks, 71
durability issues
strikeouts.
there?
There might be.
uh,
I
yeah,
could respect that argument, but 13 homers in 68 games, that's impressive. That's 30 homer upside. Do I believe he'll ever hit 30 homers again? No. But if I get 20, that'll be great. And that's only I'm only asking him for 7 more in almost 100 games at
I
that
mean,
point.
he's also a guy that kind of bounced around our league. Like,
Yes. Yeah. Well, he
you
was
know,
injured a lot, so whenever he got hurt, people would drop him, and then when he got
right?
healthy, people would pick him up. Like that's how that went.
Yeah. So to me, that doesn't say number 6 to me.
I'm gonna look at this lineup here, and Luis Arraez at the top of the lineup, Byron Buxton, Jorge Polanco, Josh Donaldson, and then Mitch Garver. It's not that bad. Like it's gonna be bad behind him with Max Kepler and Miguel Sano striking out. But there again, what if those guys are halfway decent and Alex Kirilloff pays off and they go sign somebody to play an outfield position? It's not terrible.
Not terrible. Right now, I don't see it though.
Okay, fair enough. Number 7 is a guy, for me, is a guy that you didn't talk about either, and that's Carson Kelly. And Carson Kelly, again, had some injuries this year, but I think we saw something this past year.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, and he is younger. I thought he was older than he is. He's what, he's gonna be going to the age 27 season. So
Yeah, so
I
he's
thought he was older.
27 right now. He'll be 28 midseason next year.
Okay, so I thought he was older, but he had a good year. I almost had him in there. I just don't know what the playing time is going to be between him and Varsho. I feel like the Diamondbacks are going to be so terrible that they're going to try and get Dalton Varsho in there a lot.
So it's interesting you
Um,
say that because I have Dalton Varsho at 8. So,
okay,
and I
I,
reserve the right to bump one out if another one is given full time playing time.
and
But
that's it.
I see a way they could both be in.
Yeah, yeah, and look, I mean, Varsho can play the outfield, so I mean, they could both be in the lineup together. I just and I did have them ranked next to each other also, just further down because
Gotcha.
I to me, if I'm going to draft a catcher, I want to know that he's the guy. That's why I like Contreras and d'Arnaud and Murphy because like those they're barring an injury, they're going to be there every day for a catcher.
The roster research shows that Dalton Varsho is going to hit 3rd in the Arizona lineup and play center field, and Carson Kelly is going to hit 6th. Call me crazy, but I could see somebody in rounds 12 and 13 at the wheel pick up both of these guys. And you lock this up, you guarantee yourself every at bat for the Arizona Diamondbacks that year. And you
Yeah.
could theoretically have 30 homers. And how many steals did Carson Kelly have last year? 0.
He
Okay.
had 0.
He has career 0. So he is not a stolen base threat. But Dalton Varsho is, and you could potentially get like 12 steals if you get him too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, and I have. We'll get to Varsho because I have him. We can talk about him later, but
yeah,
there definitely is something there for Varsho.
I agree, and I mean now is as good a time as any. I mean, we're talking about the same team. We're their teammates. What do you see in Varsho? Because 245, 246 batting average, and the 6 steals was nice. That was pretty surprising.
Yeah, and to me, it's the versatility that he can keep that outfield eligibility, and not just outfield but center field. Like you don't get catcher and center field like that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So and it seems like now he's right in his prime. He's 25, so like Diamondbacks aren't going anywhere. So give this kid a shot.
They're going to give this kid every opportunity to succeed.
Yeah, and they started to in 2021. He had 284 at bats this past year. So like
pretty good.
Yeah, so they're ready to commit to him. I could easily see him at this time next year being a top 5.
Okay, that's interesting. That is
Yeah.
interesting. My number 9 is Travis d'Arnaud. We talked about him. 10 is Mike Zunino. We talked about him. And now I have to like say I kind of hate myself. We've talked about a lot of people that were on your list, and this guy isn't. How low do you have Gary Sanchez?
I have I will go without a catcher before I have Gary Sanchez on my team.
Really?
Yeah. Until I see that he is not this monstrosity of strikeouts that he is, like
He had
it's because I
23
mean
homers and 54 RBIs in
even
117 games.
even the Yankees aren't committed to him
You're right.
at so why am I going to commit to him? He like
Yeah, this guy's got to go down.
I
I'm going to
mean
drop him below
20
this guy.
204 and a 307 like that just doesn't cut it for me.
All right. All right. All right. Is he in your top 20?
I mean, I really didn't rank past 15. After
Oh,
I
I
got to
got you.
15, I was just like, uh,
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
these are guys that I would pick up for a stream, and then drop tomorrow. Like
Man, having
you know,
access to the Yankee lineup is good, though.
it
I got to
is.
put
And
him
look,
above Tyler Stevenson. That'll put him at 17.
if he's playing against if he's starting against a bad lefty, sure, but like
All right, I got him at 17 now. There's still a couple of guys between them, between Mike Zunino and Gary Sanchez now. Number 11 now, as he was number 12, he got bumped up to 11. This is a guy we talked about off air, and I think I'm trying to sell you this guy. Alejandro Kirk, the
yep.
Toronto Blue Jays. You want to talk about access to a really good lineup cheaply? This guy. And not for nothing, in the 60 games, 8 homers, 24 RBIs, as many walks as strikeouts with a 242 batting average. It's not going to kill you. Yeah, sign me up. This guy's okay.
Yeah. Again, to me, he's just a guy that I just don't know how much playing time he's going to get because they still have Danny Jansen. They're going to give him playing time. So, like, I don't want to have to. We have enough lineup, moving around that we have to do on a daily basis. I don't want my catcher to be one of those guys. Like, I want to have a catcher that I know that 5 out of 7 days he's going to be in the lineup, and I don't know that this guy is going to be that.
But okay, so let's say you have Alejandro Kirk for, let's call it 100 games, and he puts up a line of 245, 13 home runs, uh, 40 RBIs with as many walks as strikeouts, and maybe 30 or 40 runs scored. Is that better than James McCann's 125 games you're going to get, where he's going to put up less numbers?
I see the argument, and I could be off, but I just like to have that certainty. I like to know that
Okay.
that he's going to be in the lineup. Um, 75%, 80% of the week, and I'm looking at it at week by week, not necessarily over the long haul of the season. So like, because our league, we have weekly matchups, so I want to know that in a given week, if I'm facing you, I don't have to worry about my catcher. I know that my catcher is in there. I don't gotta go find a catcher if I'm lacking RBIs or something like that. I want to know that my catcher is going to be in there.
I got you. I got you. My next two guys, 13 and 14, are going to be rookies in 2022. Keibert Ruiz sits at 13 for me right now, and I think I'm in love with this guy, but I'm not sure yet, and I want to see what spring brings us. But look, he had 81 at bats this past year and hit 2 home runs, but hit 284 with a 348 on base. I know it's 80 something at bats. Let's just take a look at what he did in AAA. So in AAA combined for the last 2 seasons, he had played in 81 games. He hit 311 with 23 home runs, 68 RBIs, a 374 on base percentage, and as many walks as strikeouts. This kid could be the real deal. And look, this was the Max Scherzer piece.
Right.
The Nationals aren't going to get this wrong. They're going to get something out of this. And Keibert Ruiz might be the guy that they put with Juan Soto in the next generation of Nationals.
Very well could be. And again, this time next year we could be talking about a top 10 catcher right here. I it's hard for me to rank a guy, and I know who your next guy is. It's hard for me to rank a guy that I haven't seen.
Right.
That for all I know, yeah, he could fall off a cliff, and pitchers have figured him out, and too much pressure as a rookie, whatever it is. He could just as easily hit 240 with 3 home runs, and just they also
Good.
have Riley they picked up Riley Adams also, so like
Yeah.
so I don't know that he's going to get all the playing time. But you're absolutely right. The potential is certainly there. And he's got Juan Soto. So I mean,
Did you know that Big Dick Mike Ford is on the Nationals now?
I did not know that.
Yeah, Big Dick Mike Ford. On
All right,
all right.
starting first baseman next year.
Well, no, he's backing up Josh Bell, but
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Starting right fielder next year.
he's on their bench right now. But I mean, who
Gotcha.
knows?
Gotcha.
Obviously, the number 14 guy is Adley Rutschman. Now, again, top prospect at the catcher position. This reeks of Matt Wieters. I just have to throw that out there. It smells like Matt Wieters. However, last year in AA and AAA combined, 123 games, 285 batting average, 397 on base percentage, 25 doubles, 86 runs scored, 79 walks to 90 strikeouts. If this translates, that'll be great. But these are similar numbers to what like Matt Wieters was doing right before he got called up to the Orioles. I hate the lineup, but I love the ballpark.
Yeah. Again, I just, it's hard for me to rank a guy that hasn't even sniffed the major leagues yet.
Right.
And look, the Orioles aren't going anywhere either, so they're going to give him, all the opportunity. But
right, and that means he probably hits toward the top of the lineup. Maybe not right away, but if he succeeds, there's absolutely every opportunity for him to move up in this lineup. I think the only person that's secure in the lineup is Cedric Mullins in leadoff.
Yeah.
Other than that, like you can shuffle this lineup: Ryan Mountcastle, Santander, Trey Mancini, Austin Hayes, whatever they do at shortstop, whatever they do at third base, whatever. Like Jorge Mateo might be a real thing at second, and him. So I think it's possible.
Yeah.
Sean Murphy is my 15. Number 16 is a guy that a lot of people were jumping all over last year, and he ended up being a pretty big disappointment. Why does Austin Nola all of a sudden get 0 love? What happened? Like he had like an okay 2020 season, and people were like, "My God, he's going to be so good." He had 272. He doesn't have any power. He walked as many times as he struck out. He was injured a lot of the year. He only had 175 at bats. Are we holding that against him?
Injuries are a concern to me. Victor Caratini is there. Like I feel like he stepped up as kind of the first string catcher there. I don't know what Austin Nola brings. Like he had, a good 2019. He had an okay 2020 and a banged up 2021. I don't know who he is.
He's in a good lineup, that's for sure. If you can get cheap
Yeah.
access to the Padres lineup, that certainly is beneficial. I mean, look,
Not the best ballpark.
he's my 16. Like I'm not.
Right.
I'm just saying, like he was top 5 to 10 for people last year, and now he just dumped out. In fact, where was he? He was my number 7 last year. So I'm dumping him 6 spots because of injury. But he could be a really good buy low candidate. Number 17, we talked about Gary Sanchez. 18, we talked about Stevenson. 19, Stassi. 20, Narvaez. 21, did I skip this guy? Because this guy's on your list. I did. Your number 12, my number 21. Tucker Barnhart?
I think the Tigers are going to be decent this year.
I do too.
And look, I know he doesn't hit for anything. He's a good defender. He gets on base. He has a 368 on base this year. maybe
That's his
change of
slugging.
scenery. Yeah,
That's
I
his
know he's
slugging.
going
He had a
from
317 on base, Jason. You looked at his
uh,
slugging percentage.
well, he
Yeah.
slugged 368.
Yeah.
um,
That's
I
not good.
and no, he's going from the Great American Bandbox to
To
Comerica, but
Comerica. Ugh.
I don't know. I think he's going to have the playing time.
Mhm.
Which he had in Cincinnati, but even in Cincinnati, I never felt like he had the playing time. Like
Because
it was
Tyler
always,
Stevenson became a guy.
yeah. So like, I don't know. Maybe AJ Hinch as a catcher will be good for him. I don't
I do
know.
like that upgrade. I just think he
I
massively overperformed. He hit
yeah.
247. His expected batting average was 203. So we're talking about a dude that like hit 44 points above what he should have. And like, listen, I don't hate this guy. He could hit 240. It'll be great. Oh my God, his BABIP was 325. He was getting every little blooper in, every little grounder was finding eyes through the infield. Oof.
There's an adage that says you better be lucky than good, right? I
Right,
mean,
right. I'll give
I,
you that.
so look, right. He could easily be, number 35, but like, I'm willing to give him a shot his first year in Detroit. Let's
Yeah.
see how he does. You know,
And not for nothing, Detroit's lineup wasn't bad this past year. They did finish close to 500. This is a cheap way to get in on that. He's probably going to hit seventh or eighth, depending on what the lineup looks like. But you're there. Like, you'll
yeah,
have opportunity.
he's gonna play, every day for a catcher. So yeah,
All right. Let's see. We talked about Barnhart. We talked about Stallings. Number 23, Yadier Molina. Don't care. Don't care.
yeah.
James McCann, we talked about. Elias Diaz in Colorado. What do Coloradans think about Elias Diaz?
Enough to sign him to a 3-year extension, I guess. But um,
He did have 18
okay,
home runs. He did have 18.
yeah,
That's pretty
yeah.
good.
It was. It was. I just like. Can he do it again? I mean, like, obviously playing in Colorado helps.
Colorado helps.
But like, he hit 2 in 26 games last year in 2020. Like for what 2020 was, but like, I don't know.
He also hit 2 in 101 games in 2019 for Pittsburgh. That's the real number you want to look at there. Like, this is
yeah. So
surprising.
yeah, like just I mean, he hit 10 in 2018. That was his career high before this
Mhm.
year. Um, the Rockies are
Okay.
gonna suck.
He's definitely a stream guy. He's a guy that's going to float around a few teams. When he gets hot, great. You play him when he's at home, and then once he goes on the road, you get rid of him.
Right. When the Rockies are here for a 10-game home stretch, you plug him in.
Yeah. Eric Haas, I have at 26. Or him and Barnhart, I suppose you might have something. Jorge Alfaro at 27. I know you liked this guy, and I liked him too, but man, those strikeouts are ugly to swallow.
Yeah. What's interesting about Alfaro is that he has outfield eligibility too now. So that and I kind of reaped that benefit toward the end of our season.
Mm-hmm.
And he was stealing bases too, like
Yeah.
which was weird.
Yeah, he was another nice cheap way to get a steal. Is 8 steals on the season.
Yeah.
I have Joey Bart at 28 because Buster Posey's no longer playing baseball. Tom Murphy of the Seattle Mariners at 29. Yan Gomes is a free agent. Who knows where he is at 30.
I think he retired.
Did he really?
I think he retired.
Then he would have to come off of the list.
He plays with Buster Posey.
Yes, he gets placed next to Buster Posey, underneath Buster Posey, because Buster Posey is the better retired catcher right now. Danny Jansen at 31. Kurt Suzuki, I don't know if he's anywhere right now, 32. Pedro Severino, who just signed in Milwaukee, so he's backing up Omar Narvaez at 33. Roberto Perez. What's the kid's name in Tampa? Francisco Mejia.
Oh, Francisco Mejia, yeah.
Yeah, I got him down there. Like, now these aren't even ranked. They're just names I'm throwing out. Austin Romine, is he going to be a thing? Or is he done? Luis Torrens, he's the other guy in Seattle. Martin Maldonado, because he's in Houston. Ryan Jeffers was supposed to be a thing last year. I don't know. And then Kyle Higashioka because playing time.
Yeah, because right, if the Yankees decide to dump Sanchez, he's the guy. At least
Yeah.
unless they go get somebody. But I mean, internal, he's the guy.
All right. Let's do sleepers, breakouts, busts, and comebacks. Let's start with the sleeper. Who's a guy outside your top 15 that you have on the board that you think could turn into a top 15?
Yeah, and you mentioned him. That's gonna be Ruiz, Keibert Ruiz. I think you know, he again, he's in Washington. They're not going anywhere. He doesn't get the playing time, so um, he could easily fall apart. But I think he has the potential to be a star. So, like I said, this time next year we could be talking about a top 10, top 5 talent.
Sure, absolutely. Especially at this position where nothing is guaranteed year to year. I really like that as a sleeper.
Yeah.
Um, look, man, like, is it weird to call Gary Sanchez a sleeper? Like at this point, his value is so low that you could probably get him in the 20th
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
round, right? And if that returns 30 homers and a 230 batting average, I'm not asking for the world out of this guy. He had a terrible season and hit 23. I'm asking for 7 more and a little bit more on the batting average and cut down on the strikeouts 3%. If you get that, that's a huge win. I'll take him as a sleeper.
Sure. I
Your
like it.
breakout at catcher.
Tyler Stevenson. I think.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think again. I think having the opportunity to be the guy in Cincinnati, in that ballpark, and he impressed me in what would be, I guess, considered a part-time season last year, but he put up good numbers, so why can't he do that again?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to hit at the bottom of the Reds lineup probably. I mean, you have to believe that they're going to sign a shortstop, right? Whether
I
it's
don't know. They're talking
Semien,
about
whether it's Baez,
they're talking
Story.
about cutting costs. So I don't know. It could be like a Angelton Simmons kind of deal for them.
Yeah.
Um,
And then center
but
field, who knows what they're doing there?
yeah,
So we'll see what happens with this team. If he's hitting at the bottom of the lineup, I don't like it, but I understand what you're saying. I guess you could see him if he plays his balls out, he could hit second. That's probably.
yeah.
For me, my breakout, I like Keibert Ruiz as well. I like that as a good pick there. But for the sake of argument, uh, I will let you have him as your sleeper. And I'll say my other breakout is Alejandro Kirk. If he gets full time
Yeah,
playing time. All
yeah.
right.
In that lineup, absolutely.
Yeah. Who is the bust? Who is the guy that's going to fall out of the top five?
This one was tough. And actually, I'm changing it from where I was going before. I'm going to go Wilson Contreras. I'm gonna go my guy. Yeah, because he's right on that precipice where he could, again, the upside's there. He can go ahead and have 25, 30 home run season, but he could also just fall apart and hit 216 with 12 home runs and just be done.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's probably the most volatile of the top echelon of these catchers.
Last year, I gave Yasmani Grandal as my bust, and though I don't feel ridiculous about it, because in the first half I was certainly going, "See, I fucking told you." It was a nice second half. I can't pick him again. I'm gonna go with you on this one. It's a bad lineup. The team's gonna want to sell. Maybe he'll have a good second half, and if you draft him, Jason, I may want to trade for him at the deadline. But I digress. Like this dude is it's not trending well for him, and the team is not improving. So
Right.
we shall see. All right, and sleeper, breakout, bust, comeback player of the year at this position.
I'm going James McCann. Again, I want to give him one more shot of being somewhere close to what we were hoping for when the Mets signed him to that big contract, and I think he can at least come back to respectability and be. He's already a good defender. The pitchers like him. So even if you can bring that average up, another 20 points or something like that would be okay to me. So I'm picking him as my comeback player.
That's a good call. I like that call. If I were to pick somebody from last year who was the comeback of this year, I think Omar Narvaez is due. that award. He hit 176 in the shortened 2020 season. That was horrible. And he turned into respectability this past year.
He was an all-star.
Yeah, I mean, he was respectable at the position. As far as who my comeback is, I think a fair way to do this is, all right, who was hurt? Mitch Garver. Give Mitch Garver the opportunity. I'll also throw Travis d'Arnaud a bone here and be like, this could also be you. I just believe in Garver more. I believe the lineup gives him more opportunity, where d'Arnaud hitting behind, four guys. Most of those guys have already scored at that point because of the Cunha, Albies, and Freeman. Like, that's a pretty awesome top four. And then Austin Riley. So, like, great. You're hitting at the back end of the great part of the lineup. I like Garver better, but those two guys make sense for me.
I like it.
I think that will do it, Jason. This has been a lot of fun talking about backstops. Thank you for being on here with me.
Yeah, absolutely, Joe. All these are always so fun, and talking baseball, getting ready for what hopes to be a good 2022 season. And yeah, I'm looking forward to doing these some more.
Absolutely. The next time you guys see us, we will be talking about the CBA. We'll be talking about what the players want, what the owners want, what the offers are on the table, and what kind of outlook we have on the 2022 season. Thank you guys all for watching and listening. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Ring that bell. If you ring that bell, you'll get an email notification that every time we upload, you guys will be the first to know. For those of you listening on Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, Google Podcasts, or any of the other listening platforms that we're on, thank you as well. Go ahead and give us a follow if you can do so, and share this with all of your league mates. Finally, follow us on TikTok, follow us on Instagram, and like I always say, guys, it's been real, it's been fun, and it is always real fun in the bigs. We'll see you next time.